All right, it is time to read our daily read aloud, Dexter the Tough. And today we are ready to start on chapter 3. All right, we do know in chapter 1, Dexter wrote that he was tough. He's the new kid. He beat someone up. He hates everyone at school. And then what happened in chapter 2? Madeline?
The teacher was asking him if he really did do that.
Yes. The teacher had him sit down and do a writing conference, kind of like our reading conferences. And she said, now, did you really do this? All right, now did Dexter decide he was going to lie or tell the truth? Hayden?
He decided to lie because he thought that he would have to go to detention if he actually did.
Yeah, he said, well, I forgot to turn this on. There we go. He said, well, if I'm a bad kid because I beat someone up, I can be a bad kid all the time, and bad kids lie. So I'm going to lie to my teacher. All right, Angie.
I think they don't want to do it because he might go to the school.
Right. All right, so let's see what happens to Dexter. All right. It was true, of course. Dexter had beaten up a kid. That morning, after he'd gotten mad at the school principal and the school secretary and the janitor and the kids who laughed at him, Dexter had walked into the bathroom. A boy was standing at the sink, and Dexter punched him. How am I supposed to know what his name was, Dexter wondered, slumped in his desk again. It's not like I asked him. Dexter looked around the classroom, just in case the kid from the bathroom was in his class. All the other kids had their heads bent dutifully over their books, reading silently, just like they were supposed to. The boy in the bathroom had looked like the kind of kid who would do what he was supposed to. But none of Dexter's classmates looked like the kid Dexter had hit. Later, at lunchtime, Dexter looked around the school cafeteria. He looked around the playground at the next recess. What if I hurt that kid so bad he had to go home? What if he was gushing blood and they had to take him to the emergency room? What if he died? Dexter started to get scared again. He started thinking about the police coming and arresting him. He started thinking about Mom and Dad and Grandma all crying as Dexter was led away in handcuffs. No, just Grandma, because Mom and Dad wouldn't be there. They were thousands of miles away, not even in Cincinnati anymore, not even on the same side of the country. Mom had showed him on a map. Here's Cincinnati. Here's Belle Gap, Kentucky, where Grandma lives. Here's where we'll be at the hospital in Seattle. So, if we looked at a map, Connecticut is a state on the East Coast, which is by the Atlantic Ocean. Yep. And then Kentucky is our southern neighbor. It's right below Indiana. Seattle is all the way on the other side of the country by the Pacific Ocean. So it's far away. Now, we haven't talked about his parents much yet. What do you think is going on? Because clearly he's not living with his parents. He's living with his grandma. And we just heard that his mom said, here's where we'll be at the hospital in Seattle. Quentin, what do you think?
I think they either got hurt or the mom is pregnant.
Okay. So someone needs to be at the hospital and they can't take care of Dexter. Okay. Hayden, what do you think?
Maybe his mom or dad got hurt and he couldn't be there because he didn't want to go, and maybe the parents just wanted him to send.
Okay. Josiah, what do you think?
They're doctors.
Oh, that could be. Madeline?
They could be sick, or one could be starting to die or something.
Okay. Eric?
Like someone's hurt and like the place that they were going to was they didn't have to have the stuff for it, so they went all the way over there because that was the closest one that had the stuff in it.
Yeah, so he's saying some hospitals, they don't specialize in certain things, so maybe one of his parents had to go all the way there because that's the hospital that works the best on that. So whatever it is, we can tell Dexter's a little upset by it, right? He doesn't love not being with his parents. He seems a little angry with them. So here's where we'll be in the hospital in Seattle. But Dexter's eyes had blurred looking at the map, all the bright colors of the different states blending together. Even now thinking about it, he started having to blink a lot because the wind was making his eyes water. All right, what's making his eyes water? Hudson? Well, that's what he says. Noah? Yeah, he's just crying, right? The wind isn't making his eyes water. He's starting to get emotional and he's crying and he's trying to blink back his tears. That was when he saw the boy he'd hit. The boy was sitting by himself under a tree, far away from the kickball game, and the girls playing hopscotch and the little kids on the swings and slides. He was picking blades of grass and peeling them apart and throwing them back on the ground. Was it really the right kid? The main thing Dexter remembered about the boy in the bathroom was the way he had such neat, careful comb tracks in his blonde hair. The boy under the tree had blonde hair all right, but the wind was blowing it all around. It was a mess. Dexter walked toward the boy. He stopped and leaned against the tree trunk. "Hey," Dexter said from behind. The boy jumped a little, like he was surprised. Then he turned around and saw Dexter, and his face scrunched up in fear. He started to scramble to his feet like he wanted to run away, like he was scared of Dexter. "It's okay," Dexter said. "I'm not going to hurt you, I promise. I just want to ask you a question." "What?" the boy whispered, still crouching, half up, half down. "What's your name?" The boy had to clear his throat. "Robin," he said in a shaky voice. Robin, Dexter thought. Robin? He'd been thinking of this boy as someone who had a mom who took really, really good care of him because of the comb tracks in his hair. But what kind of mean, nasty parents would name their son after a bird? "Go ahead and make fun of it," Robin said bitterly. "Everyone else does." "Want to eat a worm, Robin? Aren't you flying south for the winter, Robin?" Back home, Dexter's friends sometimes made jokes about Dexter's name. "Where's your laboratory, Dexter?" because of the TV show. I'm just curious. Raise your hand if you know what that show is. Dexter's Laboratory? That came on when I was a kid. I didn't know if you guys knew it. Sometimes the jokes were even funny. But Dexter always thought his name was cool because it was the same as his dad's middle name. It'd be awful to be named something like Robin. He wasn't going to make fun of it. Dexter shrugged and started to turn away. Then he thought of something else. What's your last name?" he asked. The way his teacher acted about writing, she'd probably insist on full names in Dexter's story. "Bryce," Robin said. "Well, that's a good name," Dexter said, because he was starting to feel a little bit sorry that he'd beaten up Robin, if Robin already had people making fun of him all the time. And Robin was still half up, half down, looking at Dexter like he still thought Dexter was going to hit him again, right in front of the playground monitor and everyone. "If I was you," Dexter offered, I think I'd just have people call me by my last name. Just say, 'Hi, I'm Bryce.' And then nobody would even know that your real name was Robin." "Everybody already knows me," Robin said sulkily. But he sat back down a little, not so ready to run. "I didn't," Dexter said. "I'm new. You could have just told me to call you Bryce, and I would never have known any different." Robin squinted up at Dexter. "My middle name's William," he finally said. "That's better, isn't it?" "Yeah," Dexter said. "You could be Bill or Billy or something like that." Robin stared off into the distance. "No," he said after a while. "I really like being Robin. I just don't like other kids making fun of it. Maybe," he looked sideways at Dexter, "maybe I can tell them you'll beat them up if they keep doing that." Dexter's stomach started feeling funny again. "Beat them up yourself," Dexter said. "Well, I'm not very good at fighting," Robin said, shrugging helplessly. "You saw me this morning." Dexter had a flash of remembering his fist hitting Robin's jaw. He felt like he was going to throw up that weird tuna fish sandwich Grandma had packed for his lunch. "Look," Dexter said, "you're a lot bigger than me. Stand up." Obediently, Robin scrambled all the way up. Dexter's nose barely came up to the middle of Robin's chest. "Let me see your muscles." Robin lifted his arm and bent it at the elbow. Maybe he had more flab than muscle, but his arm was at least twice as thick as Dexter's. "See, if you'd really tried, you could have beaten me up," Dexter said encouragingly. "If you'd gotten one good hit in, you would have knocked me out. You probably would have put me in the hospital." "Yeah?" Robin said excitedly. "Oh yeah," Dexter said, nodding. "I'm sure of it. So just tell the other kids that." Robin let his arm fall to his side. "My mom would kill me if she heard I was telling people stuff like that," he said hopelessly. "Even if I said you would beat them up. She doesn't approve of fighting. She's really picky like that." Dexter felt his fists clenched together, and if the playground monitor hadn't blown a whistle just then, ending recess, he might have beaten Robin up all over again, no matter what he'd promised. All right, real quick question. Why do you think Dexter got so mad at him again? What did Robin say that set him off? Cadence?
Maybe I can beat you up.
Okay, maybe part of that. Madeline?
Mom.
Yeah, he's talking about how his mom's real picky and involved in his life, right? Why do you think that would make Dexter feel upset? Noah?
Because mom's not there and she's grateful.
Yeah, because he's just thinking, my mom's gone. She's in Seattle. I don't get to see her. And all you're doing is complaining about your mom. So I think that is kind of why he got mad. We're going to read one more chapter, guys. Yeah. Chapter 4. Grandma was waiting at the curb when Dexter got off the bus that afternoon. She had curly white old lady hair and sturdy brown old lady shoes and a stretchy red old lady pantsuit. Dexter hoped nobody on the bus thought she was his mom. "You don't have to come and get me," he said first thing, as soon as he stepped off the bus. Grandma gave him a tired smile. "I know," she said. "I know you're a big boy, but I thought it might feel a little strange to you coming home to a different house." She pushed open the gate that separated her yard from the sidewalk. "How was your first day of school?" Dexter thought about how much he hated the principal and the secretary and the janitor and his teacher and the kids who had laughed at him. He thought about how he'd gotten in a fight, how he'd beaten up Robin Bryce. Then he thought about how Mom and Dad had said he wasn't supposed to make any trouble for Grandma, how he wasn't supposed to worry her. "It was okay," he said. "The teacher sent home a list of supplies I need." He pulled the sheet of paper out of his backpack and handed it to Grandma. Grandma frowned. "Oh dear," she said. "Back when your mother and Uncle Ted were in school, kids just needed paper and something to write with. What's this? Colored pencils? Fat markers and skinny ones too?" She sighed. "Guess we'll have to run out to the store after dinner." "I have markers at home," Dexter said. "I just forgot to bring them." Why hadn't Mom or Dad reminded him? Dexter felt mad again. He kicked at the step as he climbed toward Grandma's porch, but his kick missed, and he lost his balance and fell over backwards. He landed flat on the sidewalk. He thought he heard kids laughing as the bus pulled away. Grandma squinted down at him. Mom would have said, "Child, just what do you think you're doing?" And Dad would have said, "A swing and a miss. Strike one. Can we see the instant replay? Bet you couldn't do that again if you tried." But Grandma said in a scared voice, "Are you all right?" And somehow that made Dexter feel worse, like maybe there was something really, really wrong with him. Had Dad's problems started with him falling down? "I'm fine," Dexter told Grandma fiercely as he jumped back up. His ankle hurt now, and he banged up his elbow. He tried not to limp across the porch. Grandma still looked worried. "I made you a snack," she said, pushing open the front door. "I remember how your Mom and Uncle Ted were always so hungry getting home from school. Just come on into the kitchen." The snack was graham crackers and canned pears. Dexter looked down at the pears in their slimy syrup and felt his throat starting to close over again. "Do you have any homework?" Grandma said, sliding into the chair across from him. "Anything you need help with?" No, Dexter said. Yes, I have some homework, but I don't need help." Grandma just sat there. "I can do it by myself," Dexter repeated. He really, really, really didn't want Grandma to see the story he'd written, the one he had to rewrite. "Okay," Grandma said, inching her chair back. She clutched the table and pulled herself up. "I'll leave it to you then. I'll be in the living room watching TV if you need me." She began to hobble away. Dexter waited until she was gone. He heard her heaving herself onto the living room couch. He listened for the TV to come on before he pulled his story out of his backpack. He smoothed it out on the table. He drew a big X through everything he'd written before. Then he put the point of his pencil down directly beneath his teacher's questions. "I'm the new kid," he wrote. He started to write, "I am tough" again, but it wasn't worth it if he had to spell the word Tough. "This morning I beat up Robin Bryce in the bathroom, the one between the office and your classroom with the blue tile on the wall." So he did add some more details, didn't he? Yep. Josiah, turn around. He looked at the teacher's questions again. He'd answered everything except, "Why did you get in a fight?" He took a break and spooned one of the slimy pear slices up to his mouth. It slithered down his throat like some tiny animal, a fish or a toad or a lizard. It seemed to be fighting to come back up. Dexter swallowed hard. He chewed a graham cracker that tasted soggy and nasty and old. Maybe it came out of a box that Grandma had kept from when Mom and Uncle Ted were little. Maybe one of them had cried on it. It tasted like tears.
I don't know.
So if you're eating a graham cracker and it's tasting like tears, whose tears are flavoring it? Chloe?
Dexter.
Yeah. So why do you think he's crying again? Eric?
Because he misses his mom and dad.
Yeah. He's going through a lot of change. I'm sure we can all relate in some way or another.
I have.
His parents aren't with him. He's living with his grandma. He had to go to a new school. He's had a bad day. He beat someone up. Do you think he feels not so great about that? Yeah. So, I mean, he's having a rough day. Quentin?
Well, I can actually kind of like make a text to cell phone.
Connection?
Because my mom and dad got divorced, so now it's like different houses almost every day.
So you had to experience that. Yeah. Madeline?
I have ADHD, and my parents got divorced, and I've moved to a lot of houses.
So you can relate a lot. Okay. Hayden?
I've moved houses to an apartment to a two-story house, and it's kind of different because it's hard and yeah.
Hi.
Can I borrow Hayden's Brian just real quick for
Yep.
screen?
Right here. All right. I'm going to keep reading. We're almost done with this page. Oh, Eric, real quick.
For a week, I went to my grandma's house because my mom went somewhere, and I went to a different school. I forget what it's called.
And it was kind of weird and different.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe one of them had cried on it. It tasted like tears. He pressed his pencil down hard against his paper. And now remember, he's trying to answer the question, why did you get in a fight? And here's what he wrote. I was mad. And that is the end of our chapter. All right. I will see you guys all soon. Have a great Thursday. Actually, it's not Thursday for you. Have a great day, whatever it is.